Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello. Thank you for watching my videos. It's Mike. It's March 20th, 2009. Okay, a lot of people outside of Canada wouldn't know this, so I thought I would do a little piece about something that's going on in Canada right now. As of March 2nd, the Canadian government has been pushing quite hard, actually, a website. And by quite hard, I mean every single newscast on CBC and a lot of newscasts on CTV, so it's Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and the Canadian Television Corporation, have been pushing an ad. And the ad is basically, how would you survive 72 hours without help? The Canadian government knows that time is short. And they put up a big website, preparedness, basically. Is your family prepared? Now, it's a very interesting website, and it has a nice list of things that you should have, and basically tells people, okay, start thinking. You're not getting this information in the States, are you? It's not being shoved down your throats through NBC and CBS and ABC and Fox and all the rest of them. Yet the Canadian government is shouting at the Canadian people, get ready. What do they know that we don't? Now, I've included a link to a couple of videos. The first one, basically, all roads lead to hyperinflation and a severe depression. This is quite true. The second one, how much is $1 trillion? This is Glenn Beck. The other night, actually yesterday, yep. Basically saying, okay, visualize this. This is how much $1 trillion is. Now, why does he point out $1 trillion? On Wednesday, the United States Federal Reserve bought $300 billion worth of bonds. rather than having the Treasury sell them to someone else and then, back up the money, as it were, the Treasury sold them to the Fed. Well, that's not entirely true. The Fed's been buying all kinds of weird things, but basically, they just pumped $300 billion into the system out of thin air. In amongst all of that, they also announced they would be spending $700 billion buying up mortgages. That's $1 trillion with a T. The big one, 12 zeros. What's that gonna do? Well, immediately, gold shot up $50. In fact, it shot up another, I think, $70 yesterday. $120 in 2 days. That's not bad. Good return, I suppose. Oil's going up as well. And the dollar is dying. That won't happen overnight, of course. It will take some time. But the Fed seems hell-bent on crashing the dollar for some reason. Now, the other countries in the world are beginning to take notice. Obviously, immediately they knew what was going on. China backs talks on dollar as reserve, says Russian source. Basically, the headline would assume that, okay, China is going to be backing dollars. No, they're backing talks on getting rid of the dollar as the world reserve currency and replacing it with something else. Of course, I mentioned this a few videos back. The IMF has also suggested something similar. UK government or European have been suggesting something similar as well. So it's starting to wind up quite a bit. And of course, the thing about Glenn Beck, as I stated a few videos back, ignore AIG. That's just a mirage, a smoke screen. It's the stuff behind it you should be paying attention to. And we have a similar problem over here. We've got nonsense in the headlines about pensions, RBS pension, and the latest one today, Lloyd's, ex-head of Lloyd's may lose his $60,000 a week consulting job. Who cares? It's not important. What's important is the dollar is about to die. It won't happen overnight. It will take a few weeks at least. But along the way, things will get very, very bumpy and very interesting. And of course, this is still all leading up to April 2nd, G20 meeting, where I suspect a brand new solution will be presented to us on silver-plated platter. Now, for those of you out there who still don't believe this, of course, the UN panel says the world should ditch the dollar. What happens when countries start printing money like this? I've linked to a blog, examples of fiat money throughout history. This isn't something new. This has been going on forever. And if you think the answer is a gold-based or silver-based currency, I think you're incorrect there as well. The Romans had that, and the emperors started clipping the coins. Debasement of a currency doesn't really matter about the actual physical attributes of the currency. It matters about the policies, economic policies of the government behind the currency. So where's it leading? Well, an interesting post on the Huffington Post. World government. Of course, this was mentioned in the Financial Times a few months back. Interesting read on that one. What could happen? If you think about it, if something happens to the dollar in a dramatic fashion, what's going to happen to the people on the streets that can't get out to the ATM and buy money, or for whatever reason the debit cards aren't working, your credit cards aren't working, you go to the store and you can't buy the food? Perhaps there'll be riots. Included a link to a YouTube video. Martial law may come to New York. The governor basically saying, if we have to, we'll pull out martial law and call up the National Guard, and there will be soldiers on the streets. As a final point, the House adopts plan for volunteer corps. This has been rushed through pretty darn fast, hasn't it? There's some interesting words in there. Are we thinking brown shirts? On a happier note, Blue Oyster Cult. Video linked here. Don't fear the Reaper. Everyone have a good day. Peace, love, understanding. Think about things. I'll speak to you later.